Hello, my sweet and amazing and wonderful students and friends. How are you tonight? Tell me in the chat. I want to know. Jeremy's doing dishes. Ooh, that's rough. Anybody have anything good happen today? I want to apologize about my voice. I went to the doctor and they said that I permanently damaged my vocal cords. And 100% serious, I did it cheering for my students. Because of course I did. I was like so excited to be supportive. And now I sound like this. So you'll just have to deal with me sounding all kinds of cray. All right. Who's going to tell me in the chat how you're doing? I want to know. Vanessa, Lily. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Abner, I'm so happy you're here. Jeremy, I'm so happy you're here. Alex, amazing. Oh, Grace, I love when grandmas cook. I have one grandma left alive. And whenever she cooks, it's my favorite thing in the whole world. And she's so funny because she always says, like, I don't cook very good, but I love how she cooks. So, no, it doesn't hurt, sweethearts. I just sound horrible. But I love you. I just sound like, I feel fine. My voice just sounds like I have a cold. But it's just because I love so much I damaged my vocal cords. They put a thing down my nose, a little camera, and it went all the way down my throat to check. And then they said, nope, you damaged your vocal cords.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. But it doesn't hurt. I just feel bad for your poor ears. Okay. Grace, tomorrow you won something extra special, and I know what it's going to be because I know what you like. So I'll bring your spray along with your Takis tomorrow because you're the only one who answered my question, which was, what awesome, hi Jasmine, what awesome thing happened for you today? So Miss Valverde, I'll ask you the same thing. What's something awesome that happened for you today?
Something awesome that happened for me. I mean, I got a lot done after school and I got to sit with my daughter and do homework too. So yeah,
that's
that was
good.
good.
Wendy, I love it. I love it. My good thing today was I loved teaching. I just had so much fun with my students all day. Don't tell my students, Ms. Valverde, but I think they might be the best students I've ever had in my whole life.
Well, don't tell them.
Jeremy,
it'll get to their head.
It'll go right to their heads, except for, of course, last year's Tinker group, Vanessa. She's like,
yeah, you got to make sure.
Jeremy said, I had nothing awesome except for your class. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm lucky enough to get to have you twice, so that means a lot. Ooh, Alex ate pupusas. I don't know how to say.
That's good, Alex.
What is it?
It's like I think they use masa. It's like a flat. I don't know. It's good. I don't know how to describe it, but they're really good.
Jeremy's having a rough day, so we're really glad he's here. We're going to go back.
Oh my goodness, Jeremy. We're really glad that you're here.
Yes, we're so glad you're here. Okay, well, we want to get right to it, and my voice is so beautiful today. Today we're going to talk about how to make your research really pop and things that you need to know in a timeline. So the first thing I want to tell you is it doesn't matter how you do your timeline. You can do it like a long line with little events in order like you've seen in a book. You can do it in order of an outline like you might see on Wikipedia where it's like early life, midlife, late life. You can do it any way you want, but what you need is a visual representation of what happened in order. Okay. So Alex, what's his topic? It's not NASCAR anymore. It's F0, I think is what it's called.
Formula One?
No, Jeremy's
is it different than that? I don't know. I need to.
Okay, no, you got it. You're right, Miss Valverde. You're right. Of course you're right. Formula One, yeah. So in his timeline, he would start with why they formed Formula One, first why, and then when. So it's good to start a little bit. Thank you so much for answering. I love you. Thank you. So you would start a little bit before. And Alex clarified he's doing Formula One, and he's doing a specific driver who died driving in Formula One. So to really be top of the top of the top, do 2 timelines that overlap, or add them on the same timeline, which is what I like to do. I like to put them on the same timeline. So on my timeline, so I can keep all my stuff straight, I would first write about the timeline of the person, because that's the easiest. And I wasn't telling people this in class, but I feel like I should have been. Like, Jasmine is doing the history of Braille. And so she needs to start with like a few major events before there were Braille that made it hard on people who were blind. So a few reasons why Braille needed to exist, so that after the revolution of Braille is created, you can see a benefit. So a great example of this is my friends Lily and Grace, who are here. They are going to do the Women of Juarez. And so they will start clear with NAFTA and the creation of factories, because we can't explain why the women are dying until we explain where they're going. So they're going to start with NAFTA, and that's really, really helpful. So thank you, Jasmine. I love it when you guys show me you're listening and stuff. It's so awesome. So Janelle, you need to talk about like when UCLA, the place that sterilized women, like when it started care for women to begin with. So when a woman has a baby, it's called OB, or help me, Miss Valverde, my tongue is twisting.
An obstetrician.
Yeah, or obstetrics, right? Obstetrics.
Yeah. I think, yeah. That's like the study of being OB.
At the hospital, you need to find out when they opened the obstetrics wing. I think that's how you say it. Or in short, the OB wing, because you need to know the history. Like, was it only Mexican women that were there in the whole hospital? Or were they sterilizing white women, African-American women, Native American women? Or was it literally the only women at the hospital were Hispanic women? Like, we need to know that. So we need to know when the wing of the hospital that deals with women's care was created. That's really important. I think Janelle was on. Yeah. So Janelle, I want you to look at that, okay, and add that. Cool. I know, Jeremy, you and I looked at your timeline. It's going to start when the Spanish are trying to kidnap the Mayan people in Guatemala and force them to be slaves. So the very first time that happens, that's the first event on your timeline. Okay. Hi, Anthony Lopez. I missed your face. What else do you want to say about starting the timeline at the very beginning of their timeline?
I mean, I think that's a really important point for them to remember, is if you don't have what happened before that revolution, then your purpose isn't as clear. It's harder to prove why your topic is even important if people can't see what it did actually change or what effect it had. And outlining that first part before the revolution is what's going to help you do that and show that you're relevant.
And no, if you've already done it, you just check that off the list and smile and say that you're great.
Then you're awesome.
The first part of your timeline needs to connect to the part of the rubric that says historic context. So that's setting up the scene. So the historic context is what's happening at the time that causes the event to happen. So for example, if I was in the state of Georgia in the early 1800s, the historic context is that those people had slavery at that time. That's important to know. That's the context. In America in 2025, big shocker, get ready. I'm going to tell you something that you never would have figured out. Women are allowed to hold jobs, and we're allowed to read and write, and we're even allowed to be teachers. That's our historic context. I can even vote in elections. That's amazing. So you want to provide that context. Vanessa, the historic context for Kinsey's is really important. Really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to what needs to be in a timeline. Ms. Valverde, do you want to kind of go over what a timeline is so I can rest my voice as I get my...
Yeah. Okay, so in your timeline, you want to think about what the most important events are that we're going to highlight with your project. So this comes into play with every single category, but especially your characters and performance. We need to see how they fit on the timeline so that everything lines up correctly and it's historically accurate. If you're talking about a specific person, you want to have the timeline and how they connect to the topic as well. So it kind of paces out our project and the story of that person or event so that it is easier to talk about and that it makes sense for whoever is looking at the project. But yeah, choose your most important points in that timeline.
Do you have access to your to our Google Classroom in the timeline right now?
I do, yeah.
It's not, I'll let you share.
There were a few, yeah, and I think did you put it in both of them or just the one?
Wendy, I'm so excited. I don't know, honey, I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm so excited that you wrote out your thesis. In fact, if anybody here needs help writing your thesis, since there's only a few of you, I'm happy to help you finish your theses right now while we work on timelines. So if you want to help in the chat, we can finalize theses. That seems like a really smart use of our time, Wendy. And since you came all this way, it would be great to know that your thesis is done. So if anybody needs help finishing, not that it'll be perfect, we'll revise it a lot, but just having a working thesis is going to be so great. And so if you've been working on that thesis and you want me to take a look at it, that sounds really smart. Okay.
Here's timeline checklist.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Or no? Yeah. Okay. Where is it? I was trying to share it. There we go. Okay. So
together, we're better together. Okay, she's gonna go through it. My voice is like,
so if you have your timeless, Ms. Stevens put this together for us. So for people, if your project is focused on a person, then you want to, of course, include their birthday, their early life, any significant deaths or illnesses in the family, education, what schools they went to, other major events, books, letters, accomplishments. So did they write anything? Were they published? Did they perform anywhere? Did they give a speech anywhere? So that's going to be included because those are significant life events or accomplishments. Were they married? Did they have children? I'm going to shut the door because my family's really noisy out there. Hang on one second.
Okay, when she comes back, I'll have her copy and paste this in the chat in case you need it. So can you copy and paste this into the chat, like in sections?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to do the people first. And then, of course,
on every person. So, for example, this is where it gets crazy. Abner, you're doing an entire Guatemalan genocide. You cannot do all the people who died. But what you need to do first is get a statistic of how many people died. Yay! Miss Roman's here.
I don't have access to chat, so
I got it. Okay, I got it.
So no, I cannot do that. And then events, you're going to focus differently because you don't have the people involved as much. So you're thinking about what happened, who was involved, and then you're going to have the significant players in that role on both sides of it. And then what events, just like we talked about, what led up to the beginning, the revolution, who was affected, did anyone die? Did anyone benefit? And then how did it end? So we'll have multiple.
Okay, lean in and listen because this is important. Ready? Ready, audience? Lean in and listen. When you're doing your people, you need a couple of different numbers. Okay? So in Formula One, you need your driver's name and the people who got him involved and a little bit about the people in his life. That's micro, really close. But we also need you to back up and show us scope. So how many people have driven in Formula One from the time it started until today? How many people usually go to Formula One events? Maybe you can show me a graph that shows that it's getting bigger. So Grace and Lily, I need to know how many women are disappearing. And I know, sweethearts, that your answer is going to be different sources say different amounts. I need you to put those different amounts and the sources in. I've seen you find sources that say over 2,000, 600, 200. We have to include that in our play. So we need those numbers. But the people, if you are in performance, so Vanessa, I'm talking to you. Wendy, I'm talking to you. It's really important that you do your own character and learn about that person. And Mrs. Roman, I'm going to have you add some things that as a character, when they're in performance or doing a documentary, they need to know about that person that they wouldn't need to know in exhibit.
Right. When we're writing and we're thinking about the character that we are, and hi Jeremy, by the way, because you said hi in the chat and I can read the chat. We're really thinking with that language arts kind of mind, right? Our English brain, where we're trying to really create characterization and make sure we're showing that characterization and understanding of the character. And so when you're doing your research on those particular people, you want to kind of get a feel for who they were. So I do think a lot of times, obviously, like quotes would be great. If there's any stories that other people had about the character, letters that maybe they wrote with other people, I think those would all be a great way to kind of create that person in your mind so you could understand how to act as them. And then if we're at a time period where we can see images or maybe drawings, of course, we want to look at that as well, because we'll have to think about the costumes in that regard as well.
Yeah, and it's really important that you have an idea, like Mrs. Roman is saying, about their personality. So right now, we're going to play a game, and we're going to see if you know which one of these three teachers would be most likely to kill a spider. So if there was a spider in our hotel room, which one of these three teachers would be the one who would kill it? And then which one of these three teachers, Stevens, Valverde, or Roman, would be most afraid? Because that's part of our personalities too, like what we're afraid of, what we're willing to do. So in the chat, let's see who knows who would be the spider killer and who would be the spider runner. Hider.
Perhaps this is based off of a true story.
Perhaps.
This is based off a true story.
Okay, Jeremy thinks Mrs. Stevens would be the scared one. Vanessa, I can't tell what she's saying. She thinks one.
She said, I don't know. I think she's saying Miss Stevens would kill it. Miss Valverde would run.
Lily said Mrs. Valverde would kill the spider. Mrs. Stevens would cry.
I would be like, oh, save me. Jeremy, Lily, stop tapping. Oh, are we tapping?
Are we tapping?
Thank you for telling me, Melissa. Oh, Miss Roman would be the not brave one. The brave and scared one. Grace thinks that Stevens and Valverde would be braver. Taping. What does that mean, Melissa?
Film live? I don't know. We want to help Melissa, but I don't.
Kill the spider.
Stephanie thinks I would do it. Abner says I would do it. Valverde would run and Mrs. Roman would run.
Along with Mrs. Valverde.
Mm-hmm.
I like that detail.
Mm-hmm. You guys would leave me alone with the spider.
Well, I mean, you already killed it, so.
You would be such bad friends. You would
Jezebel thinks Mrs. Valverde would kill the spider.
Yeah, I know, that's good. We got you. Okay.
When
Janelle
my
says,
daughter's here, she's like,
would kill the spider
knows
and
the
Roman
answer.
and Alberta would be the scared ones. All right, let's tell them the truth, Roman. Who was the brave spider? Who's the brave
Well,
one?
there were several bug situations I do recall happening. And there were 4 of us really in the room, including Mrs. Populous. The bravest was Mrs. Stevens, who is used to being outdoors. So she's used to all sorts of bugs, having grown up in Idaho and around animals. Mrs. Valverde was probably the scaredest, who would not
I
room.
I refused to go in the room again until it was gone. I was like, I'm gonna sleep outside in the car.
Yes. I slept through the first spider killing, which is very typical of me. And the second time Mrs. Stevens wasn't around and Mrs. Populous was having a panic attack, freaking out. And so then I was screaming and killing the spider. So I did both. I killed a spider and I was terrified. So Mrs. Stevens is the bravest bug killer among us.
Yes. She gets the brave bug killer award.
What's fun about this story, and every part of History Day has a story, is that we had different reactions. And that's what makes it fun. So even if you're talking about Braille, everybody has different reactions. And that's a really big part of History Day and of winning History Day. So some people think that, yes, horse flies are a lot scarier than spiders. Stephanie is my girl. She knows that.
Her thinking about that detail and understanding that, that's exactly why we need to know those details of the people we're covering, because Mrs. Stevens is around horses and horse flies are scarier. Look at you guys making inferences and putting your own experience together with the evidence, right? It's amazing.
Yeah. Grace, or not Grace, Stephanie knows me the best. So Stephanie, I'll hook you up with an extra treat tomorrow. But that makes you better at your History Day project because the personality of this race car driver was this. The personality of the very first lady who created Braille was this. So it's important for you to kind of know how their personalities play off of each other. Wendy, it's really important for you to know who Biddy was as a character. Was she quiet and obedient? Was she quiet and clever? Was she feisty and in your face? Like how people's personalities are, allow the History Day, the timeline, put it in the timeline. When's the first time that they, like Biddy Mason was a slave? Did she try to escape? When was the first time? How old was she? When was the first time, Alex, that he ever drove a car? And was he scared the first time? Yeah, Wendy, I love what you're saying. So I think the answer is you're going to be multiple characters. So Wendy right now is talking about characters in her performance. Mm-hmm. And her character partner is Milan. And she is a slave who's brought here by the Mormons. And she escapes and becomes a millionaire. So that means Wendy has to play different characters. So probably she's going to have to play her slave owner in the first scene. And then she's probably going to have to change so that in the performance, we can see different ways that Biddy reacts to different characters. So that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead and take over, Vanessa, where we're at. I need to answer this.
Okay, so we are looking at people in the first part of the timeline. This also is super important, I would say, and I'm sure Mrs. Valverde would agree, and Mrs. Steven. We also want to look at this because we want to have a good understanding of multiple perspectives. So understanding those people, just as we said right now, the slave owner and the slave, that will kind of integrate a big part of the rubric that History Day has, which is us understanding multiple sides of the history. So yeah, the people are really important. And then I think, are we done covering the people? Are we moving on to events now?
Should we ask, are there any questions in the chat about people before we move on? Guys, if they have secrets, oh my gosh, that's my favorite stuff to research.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have like dirty secrets or even good secrets. So some of the greatest people are spies who are spying for the good side. Like people who are spying on the Nazis are fascinating. So secrets are really, or really good guys like Martin Luther King Jr., who was hiding his affairs from his wife. So secrets often really add flavor to your research and make you more interested in what was going on.
People called him the Rain Man. Oh, I love that detail, Alex.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's really great. So in your opening scene, Alex, you might want to be his very first race, and maybe we could simulate rain or something. That would be really cool, right? And so people could be asking him if he was scared, and why wasn't he scared? Like, was his family into racing? Like, was there an expectation? The first time I ever raced a horse, I was scared to death, but there was an expectation in my family that everybody who's tough can race a horse. So I was scared all the way into the gates, and then it was the most fun thing I'd ever done in my life. Who am I lying? I still get scared, but it's still my favorite thing to do.
It's not the same kind of scare, I'm sure.
Sometimes that little bit of fear, but you also know it's exciting, can be kind of fun. Like I've been ziplining several times, and I feel like right before I'm always like, wait, do I want to do this again? But then I do it and I'm like, let's go again. So
yeah, those exciting times. Like for me, when I'm rock climbing, especially when I get over about 300 feet and I look down and I'm like one misstep and I'm dead. I like come alive, sometimes I get really scared and I grab really hard. And sometimes I'm just like wild and cheering and like, woohoo, let's go. And it kind of depends, on where I'm at in my life. So your characters might feel different ways about things in their life. Alex, that'll be true for you for sure, because that's his job. Mm-hmm. He'll have times where he loves racing. He'll have times where it's hard for him to race. I'm going to tell you a true story that will surprise you. You guys all know that my Gmail is Stevens Loves Teaching. And everybody in the chat knows that I love teaching as much as I love my horses, which is a big deal. But when I was in my early, late 30s, I was going to leave teaching because I didn't know if I liked it anymore. And so I had to decide, would I leave teaching or would I stay? And so I gave myself the email, Stevens Loves Teaching, to decide that if I was going to stay, I was going to love every single day of it. And if I didn't love it, I was going to go find something else that I could love. And that helped me commit to loving it more and more and more. And so that's a really important part of why I love teaching so much, was because there was a time where I almost left. And I wonder if you can guess what I would have left to do. I wonder if any of you.
I wonder.
Actually, I think it would surprise you, Ms. Valverde.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah. Grace asks a really good question. She says, so the victims, since we don't know how many victims who died, just kind of put the sources and what they've calculated, and then you've already done this, but learn about the victims that were first, maybe some of the ones that were the saddest or that we know the most about, or in your case, that led to people demanding reform. So the people around those victims said enough is enough. Yeah, I'll bet you that's what Valverde would think is horse racing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one.
I was gonna be an OB. I was gonna leave and deliver.
Really?
People.
Oh, I was gonna say lawyer.
No, I thought I would be a good doctor for little babies.
Oh, that would be.
That's probably true. You
would be a great. Doctor. I mean,
yeah.
It's not funny, but that's what
great anything. Yeah.
But selfishly, I'm very glad you're a teacher. So
I'm really glad that you stayed.
And I'm sure everyone and all the kids.
All these kids are really glad that you stayed too.
Well, that year I got a group of really nice kids, and I was like, oh, I love these guys. I better stay one more year. Every year I love the next group even more. So here I am. Okay, good. So that's helpful, I think, right? Did they build anything? Let me tell you guys right now, almost every one of your topics, let me tell you what they all built. Jeremy, Abner, pay attention. They built memorials.
Mm-hmm.
So Vanessa, they built places to have Kinseys. I guarantee you they did.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking for, like Alex, they built racing. Formula One built racing buildings for them to do that. Oh, of course Emma does. That makes sense, Grace. Emma and I are a lot alike. I can see that. She'll be really good.
She'll be really good at that, yeah.
All right, you guys take over. I'll quit talking. Rest my voice.
Okay, so I think, were there any other questions about the people piece of this? I'm so sorry that my dogs are so riled up tonight. Any other questions about people, or we're good there? Okay, so let's go on to events. So we're thinking about like what in particular happened. So who was involved, and that kind of connects back to your people. How were they affected by it? And then also what came before everything. I think 5 and 6 are really important. Did anyone die or get helped by this? So if you think, Jasmine, think of your topic, we know obviously Braille helped blind people read, but what was the pushback? What did people do? What event when that Braille came out? Because I know yesterday in your research, you were saying that teachers kind of refused to use it in their classrooms. And so I think that would be important as well, because that goes back to how they reacted to it. And then Ms.
Yeah.
Roman,
I was going to say, I want to point out number 3, which is what events led up to the event you're researching. So obviously the revolution is usually caused by something that's happening, right? So the invention of Braille was created as a way to kind of revolutionize reading for those that can't see. And so for something to be revolutionized, we really have to have an understanding of the event that leads up to the starting point of your research. So having that background, I think, can really help like contextualize and really have you have a good base point on why that revolution caused such a big reaction and therefore eventually caused the reform thereafter.
Yeah. And again, that goes back to our historical context, which is part of our rubric for every category. We want to make sure that it's clear in your project how it connects historically. So where did that kind of come from? And then how did it affect history before and after? Okay.
And there's a question from Jeremy. It says, Mrs. Stevens, do you think it will be good if I added some of the leaders or the people who have top ranks that were involved with starting the genocide? Yes, that's true for everyone. I read that out loud because if there are other leaders in the revolution or the historical event you're dealing with, or the creators of Braille, for example, you do want to know who those people are because they're the key people related to your topic.
And then in that, you can often find different perspectives. So you might have a leader on one side and a different side. So that goes back to your multiple perspectives, which also has to be on your project. So yes, all of the big key players.
You just gave me a really good connection, Jeremy, between class and your history research paper. That's going to help a lot of people in the chat. This is really going to help Grace. It's really going to help Vanessa, and it's really going to help Jasmine. I want you to do a separate search for the word propaganda and your topic. Who made the propaganda and why did they make it? So Jeremy, yours would be propaganda of the Guatemalan genocide, because you can use those as primary sources in your documentary, and the people who made it and the people who paid for it both are going to be important people because they have the agenda. Who's making the ads that make you hate people? Who's paying for it and who's making it? Find out who does the propaganda. Believe it or not, Kinsey propaganda is going to be the same. You're going to actually get a lot of historical leads through the propaganda of quinceañeros. Now, what's interesting, Grace, is going to be, is there propaganda from the government to try to make the women feel safe? Or do they warn the women? At any time, do they start putting up posters about women missing beyond the crosses? We know they have crosses, but is there actual propaganda? That is a genius idea, Jeremy. That's really going to help your research. But the propaganda around Braille is going to be really interesting too.
That is, yeah.
Did the people who made Braille try to convince teachers to use it? If so, how? That would be so good for your exhibit. We could make that a major part of your exhibit. Good job, Nicole.
I'm wondering also, I think I saw a couple of the girls who are doing the forced sterilization of Chicana women. There might be news articles that kind of acted as propaganda too, or you might also see, I'm thinking of, for them, there's a lot of protesting happening at the time. Posters that were used would be great, especially in a documentary, because those images would look amazing.
In fact, Vanessa, that's such a good, Miss Roman, that's such a good point, because hopefully Janelle and Jezebel are still on, because medical propaganda is some of the darkest, weirdest propaganda out there. So actually, literally still in like 2025, drug companies, I'm not talking about illegal drugs, I'm talking about drugs for like my sore throat or something.
Like medication,
thank you. They go to our doctors and they like peddle their drugs and try to get our doctors to sell them to people. So how were those women sterilized? And was the doctor getting a kickback from the medical company? Was he actually making money to sterilize them? He might have been.
He might have been. And what did they tell them to make them think that it was a good idea? Because I'm sure that they convinced some women that that's what they needed to be doing to stay healthy. So what is that side of the propaganda too? Oh, your mom's going to Guatemala this week. Wow.
I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to put that in your process paper.
That's amazing. All right. Bye, Vanessa.
Bye, Vanessa. I think I might have found one of your fans, by the way.
Oh, good.
Oh, finally.
We've been looking for weeks
on it. So that's it. That's the one I found in the suitcase.
Jeremy, for some reason, my chat won't go through, but please ask your mama to take pictures of any memorials that she sees or any places that were involved. Lots of videos of Guatemala. We can use those pictures in your documentary, and we really need them. So please have her take video, lots of video for us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so are we feeling we need to do ideas still? Are we on point C?
Okay. Should we go to C? Okay. So ideas, books, or court cases is our next part. So a lot of these will have, especially with sterilization of women, we have the big court case where they sued these hospitals. Who was involved in that? Why were they suing? What ended up happening? I know they gave, in that situation, they gave reparations recently too, and I think it was like $25,000. We were finding that the other day for each of the victims, which is
for which thing? For which one did they give
for reparations? The sterilization of women, they had a $25,000 reparation for each family.
I did not know that. That'll be
we found that the other day.
That's seriously good reform. I know that Alex has like the best reform ever because they literally changed the way they built.
Yeah, that's an incredible reform.
Yeah, Jeremy's is like really tight. I know that, Alex, that's Alex. Jeremy's is also good because his is about the ending treaty and the global apology.
Yeah.
What are
There's a
quinceanera?
lot. And you're going to see that in the reform piece does a lot of time come from these court cases.
Yeah, we're a little worried about Juarez because women are still disappearing. So we're just going to demand reform. Okay.
But, I think that's fine. I don't think there has to actually be a reform, but it can be more like a call to action from what I'm seeing.
Wouldn't I would think part of the reform is also making it known, like publicly known, that this is an issue, right? By allowing people to have an understanding that femicides are on such a high, crazy amount that's happening there, and getting that exposure. That's how slowly and gradually reform does end up happening. But if we're not at that stage yet, even that within itself is the beginning stages of reform and the call to action for the reform.
Okay, so this is really big. Whenever you tell a story, so I really need all of you to listen, but especially documentary and performance. You really need to start your opening scene explaining the problem. So in the opening scene of Women of Juarez, Wendy, in the opening scene, we need to see the problem. If you're in performance, but documentary too. So I love the idea, although our documentary with sterilization, Ms. Roman, is going to be a little different. We decided we're going to start with interviews. Did they tell you this? We're going to start with interviews from the family. We're going to start real about the importance, the historical context of why families matter so much and how important families are. And then we're going to like break that and like shatter it and then talk about the problem.
I love that.
Taking that right away. Yeah. So in narrative writing, when Mrs. Roman and I teach stories, and Mrs. Valverde, we're all English teachers. When we teach stories, we will teach you that the beginning of the novel puts you in the real world of the character. So the normal world, and then something changes, and that change puts them on a journey. And sometimes that's called the hero's journey. And what are other things that they say? What can I think? The inciting incident. And that's the incident that gets the thing going. So in your documentary and in your performance, it's the same as writing a story. So you kind of need to make the normal world and then the inciting incident. What's the thing that caused the revolution? What's the thing that caused the change? Oh, I love Stephanie's question. It's really
that's a great question.
Yes, please, Stephanie. That's really good. So in yours, you want to talk about what's the thing that caused her to do her work. And that's the revolution. You might need a couple different timelines for your stuff. We'll need to help you with that, I think. That's such a good question.
I think, Stephanie is asking what we could email to the person who made the artwork for the interview. And I think when we're emailing Mrs. Stevens, are we going to want them to make sure they're emailing with you so that way you
what if we do our live next Thursday and teach them how to email and help them send emails to a whole bunch
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
And then we can do it through my email because I don't want adults having access to children.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So we'll put me as the big, because I can kill spiders, so I can protect you guys.
I mean, you are the bravest.
You are. That's true.
Yeah.
So we will next week. Next week we will definitely do that. Stephanie, so show up here and I'll help you. Oh, I'm so excited, Jeremy. That was wonderful. We love Simon. That's really exciting.
Oh, great. I'm glad.
Yeah. So we will show up here and we will start emailing and texting a whole bunch of people. Because Stephanie, I know you need to do that. And my friend Jezebel needs to do that too. I know she's been asking me about that as well.
Yeah. And then our season reform too.
We'll give you sample letters you can use and all kinds of great stuff. So we'll help you. We'll get that done next week. It's perfect time.
You know what's something, and I'm sure the girls have this struggle when they're looking up Dolores Madrigal. It's kind of disappointing that when you look up her name, it's like the Disney character pops up.
Oh
and
my
not
gosh,
a
yes.
historical figure. I
You know,
was looking at it right now because I was like, I wonder if there's other relatives and things like that. And I'm like, it's the Disney character. That's so disappointing. Yeah. I'm sure they
Brandon, I'm
ran
so
into that
glad you finished your timeline. I know we were coming across that. I was working with those girls the other day, and I was like, wait a second, why is Encanto on here? Come on, Disney just took over that name.
Yeah. Yeah, Jezebel, you're saying it gets in the way. That's why I think it's super important to really be specific in your research. So you're figuring that all out now. This timeline is going to be a great way to kind of help you be specific in your search terms, because otherwise then we get Disney characters accidentally popping up. So
I mean, it's really unfortunate. It's the same name. Can you put Dolores Madrigal and then minus Disney? Would that help? I don't know. I haven't tried it, but sometimes it does. How do I get the interview with today?
Okay. Yeah. So next week, we're going to talk about how to email people and get the interview. And then I'll also give you scripts because I know Janelle wants this from me. I'll also give you scripts about what to ask in your interview and then how to personalize it so you know how to give a professional interview. And you can Zoom the interview. That's probably the safest and the best. And you can Zoom it during school time, but you need to ask them to Zoom during the time you have my class or Mrs. Valverde's class, okay?
Or during second or third period where one of us have a prep.
Yes. So it has to be during my class, second period, third period, or after school is great too. Yeah, AI's overviews are wrong.
AI gets in the way.
Yeah, somebody was researching something today. I can't remember what it was, but saying that it was, the rule of thumb trial case.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You said that was really difficult.
AI was saying that case doesn't exist. It's based on fake information.
It was saying it was a myth.
And then in the AI overview, it said, however, in the case Rhodes versus the state, the judge stated, and then it gave the thing.
But that doesn't exist.
It's a myth and it exists somehow.
It's a myth and there's a primary source.
Yeah. Okay, so what else do we want to do today? Anybody need help with theses? Do you all have your theses?
Thanks, Brandon.
That's because we look at a lot of sources.
We do.
I told one of the kids, they're like, I had AI write the thesis, but this is dumb. And I was like, yes, they are dumb. Don't let them write it for you.
Don't ask it to write.
First of all, it's unethical, but secondly, it's actually bad.
It's actually not even good. Yeah.
By the time all the History Day kids that we work with, and you guys are figuring that out even sooner, but I feel like every time they're like, I don't want to use AI. Can you guys just read what we're writing?
They really learn how
help us.
Frustrating.
I'll never forget Clara last year. She's like, she comes in, I hate AI. I was like, it can't be that bad. She's like, yes, it is.
Yeah. All the sources we lost just because we needed it to alphabetize.
Yeah, worthless. Oh my God.
Oh. Okay, so Jasmine needs help with her thesis before, during, doing her first scene. That's it. That's a Miss Stevens question.
No, inside of it. So you open up and the character dialogue will show the problem. So for example, if I am doing, Grace, I'm going to give you exact lines so you're your lines of your mother might be something like, when I sent Anna to go to work, I thought it was to help our family, not to ruin it. She was only supposed to be at the factory a year. She didn't even make it a week. So now you know the problem. You know why she was going to the factory, what the intent of the family is, and that she's disappeared. So just in the dialogue, I've done the work. So the work of the dialogue. Do you want to add to that, Mr. Roman? I can tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say with performances, we're doing a lot of show, not necessarily tell. And you learn that in writing. So when you present your thesis to the judges, you're going to speak to them as yourselves. But when you're doing your opening, for example, in your first scene, you're going to be stating that problem through what your characters are doing and saying. So that script is going to be written with that in mind. So understanding the problem is super important, obviously, and which characters you're playing in that scene, because you're going to be kind of weaving that in together. And it sounds like it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
I can't wait, Jess. Alex, make sure you're using that Instagram account for some of your info. That's great. Make sure you also cite that in your bibliography. There's a specific way to cite like Instagram posts, social media posts. Okay. Any other questions about thesis? I know you're working with Jasmine right now. Any other questions we can answer about timelines? Some of you are finishing them up. Some of you are still working. I can't wait to see yours, Brandon. I know you showed me before the end of the day and then had some other ideas to add. So I can't wait to see it tomorrow.
All right, this is just a really rough idea, Jasmine. Cool. I love it, Jeremy. Go. He needs that anyway for his class grade. So good for you. He'll love it. He'll have fun. You're doing the right thing. Okay, I am super glad you're here. If you sign out for me today, I will have talkies for you first thing in the morning.
Mrs. Stevens, there's one last question from Jezebel. Is the timeline going to be due tomorrow?
No, I don't want it to be due necessarily. But in your case, honey, we've got to be able to get that documentary going. So it's a work in progress and we'll keep adding. We want to start getting the video recordings to start actually creating your documentary and the script. And so it's time for us to just keep adding. So even as you interview people, you're going to keep adding to your document or you're going to keep adding to your timeline.
Yeah.
It helps
you work
it all.
document.
Yeah, it's called a working document. That's what Ms. Valverde is saying. Do you want to explain what that means?
So working document means that it's not finalized. It's like a continual draft that you're editing. So that's what the timeline is going to be. What you finish right now or tomorrow or whenever is your first draft of that timeline. And we'll just be continuously making adjustments.
For class, I want you to have 15 events minimum, which you guys should already have that. I mean, I feel like I almost know that just from working with you. Yeah, you can definitely, if you don't know their birthday, some of these birthdays we don't have, you just put no birthday recorded. If they weren't educated, Wendy, what a great thing. You just put whatever education she had. If she was enslaved and forced to learn to sew, that's what you say. Her education was being forced to sew from other enslaved people, you know? Yeah, these are really good. Yeah, Jeremy, I'm glad too. Good.
Yeah, I think your documentary is going to be amazing, Jeremy.
What are some good sources to use? Okay. So we're going to get some oral interviews. We're going to work on that tomorrow or next week, next Thursday. Those will be absolutely the best sources you'll have. Finding sources written from the person, best sources. Newspaper at the time, propaganda at the time, fantastic sources. But also, if I were you, as you're just starting, I would definitely go to like an overview from it, like a reliable YouTube like channel, like a history channel, if they have one, and just watch a couple of history videos so you get the general idea of what's happening. So then when you research, you're like, oh, okay, this is part of this, or this contradicts. I always start with kind of an overview. I read Wikipedia, even though they say it's not the most reliable thing. I read it before I do deep research to kind of get the big picture. And then I watch videos. I watch 2 or 3 videos and just kind of go, oh, okay. And then when I feel like I understand what's happening, then I jump in and read those harder texts. And that helps me understand sometimes. Because sometimes reading can be really hard and it can have big words.
Yeah, and then sometimes the videos they'll present the information in a much simpler way because that's what a video is. It's very visual.
If you're doing a documentary, videos are also helpful because you could use clips from the videos as well.
You could.
If there's primary information in there, that's usually the best.
Right.
All right, let's call it a day. Stephanie, heart. Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us. Alex, thank you for joining us. Grace, thank you for joining us. Jeremy, Wendy, Jerry, Jezebel, so awesome to have you guys here. We appreciate you so much.
And Brandon, he came in at the last
And Brandon and Jezebel. And Vanessa, my girl. Bye, Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate you.
Bye,
Abner. All right, thanks for coming on tonight, everyone, and all the hard work.
Yeah, bye, Wendy.
Awesome. Bye.
You guys are so kind. We love you. Thank you. Good night, my friends. You're the best.
Good night. Get some sleep.
Good night.
Good night, Janelle.